Abby's face got mad. See, Abby, you blame him. You should be blaming you and me. We did this to him. Maybe he went too far. He got mad and hurt, but we should have seen it coming. We didn't have a plan for what he did when we should have. You and I were too sure of ourselves, too proud. We thought he would just do what we wanted. Lillian was right when she said we didn't show him any respect. We didn't. Now we're paying for being so dumb. That's what it was, Abby, just dumb. Face it. Abby's tears kept falling. I don't know what to say, Mom. He just pushed me away like I was nothing to him. Just like that. He did what we did, Abby. Abby wiped her tears. I never told him I loved him, Mom. Yeah, I said it on the phone and texts, but never face to face. How come? Alina looked at her daughter and then just gave a small lift of her shoulders. Maybe you felt you didn't need to. That doesn't make any sense, Mom. Maybe not, but it's how it was. He knew, he always knew, until he didn't. I can't make this right, Mom. I don't know how. I don't even know where to start. Oh dear, do you feel sorry for what we did to him? Not just sorry for what happened to you, but for what we did to him. Do you wish you hadn't done any of it? Abby nodded just a bit. Yes, she said in a really soft voice. So do you hate him? Abby looked sad. No, I don't. I'm just hurt and mad. Really mad. I want him. I want him to love me again, but I know he won't, Alina said with a resigned smile. Wait here a moment. I got something today you need to see. Just give me a bit, okay? Abby nodded as Alina stood and left for their office. After a few minutes, Abby heard the printer. She looked up as Alina came back into the kitchen. This came for me today, Abby, Alina said as she handed a printed page to her daughter. I was going to show you after dinner. Abby took it and tried to read through her tears. Alina, I'm lost for words. I thought flying far away would help sort my feelings, but no luck. This place is like no other. It's like being on a different world. Back home feels so far away here. But I need a favor, something I can't do on my own. I don't even know how to ask. Can you tell Abby something for me? I couldn't reach her. No address, no email. I tried calling on her birthday, but her phone's cut off. Did she change her number? I asked Lillian but got no clue. Please tell her I did remember her birthday. I tried to reach out. I'm sorry for how I was back then, you know what I mean. I miss her, Alina. I miss us being close. Is there a way to fix things, or is it too late? You might not want to help, and that's okay. You don't owe me anything. I'm not trying to sneak back into your life, really. I've changed. War changes you. I can't go back to who I was. Email time is short here, got to go in a bit. In a simple way, the writer is trying to mend a friendship from miles away, feeling the weight of words and distance. Abby read the email over and over, and then she just sat there, feeling all mixed up inside. She ate some food and drank some wine because her mom told her to, but she hardly remembered doing it. She stayed at the kitchen table long after her mom went to bed. It was really late, like 2 in the morning, when she finally moved to get her laptop from the office. She saw her mom had sent her the email from Mark. Abby hit reply and added Mark and Lillian's names. Dad, I know I shouldn't call you that now, but I don't care about what the court said. In my heart, you're still my dad, and I'm still your daughter, no matter what anyone else thinks. Thank you. I thought I might not hear from you ever again. I've been so down and mad. I love you and miss you a lot, Dad. I do. Mom showed me the email you sent her. I've been sitting here for hours trying to figure out my feelings, thinking about what you asked Mom. Now it's 3 a.m., and I'm still all over the place. I'm sitting in the dark, the only light is from my laptop, and I'm not sure how to say what I need to say to you. But I think some things shouldn't be said in writing. I need to tell you a lot face to face. I'm not sure I'm brave enough for that. I know I have to see you, but I'm really scared. A bit ago, Mom told me I was being childish. She didn't use those words exactly, but that was the message. You said something similar the last time we talked on the phone. You were right to call me out for giving advice about you and Mom when I hadn't been in a real relationship myself. I didn't listen. I thought I knew it all, but I didn't know anything. I want to fix things between us, but I'm stuck on how to do it. I had so many ideas, but they all seemed wrong after a while. I need your help, please, Dad. Show or tell me what I need to do to earn back your love and trust. Only you can say what's needed. Give me a chance. Next, I have something hard to say. It might make everything else seem like a lie. It's not, but it might look that way. I understand that, but I still need to ask you this. I don't think I'll get another chance like this. Yesterday at work, during my check-in, I got a bigger pay than I thought was big. Mom had to explain how it was a lot compared to others who have worked as long as me. But there's more. I was also offered a chance to go back to school, and my company would pay for everything up to a master's degree. They want me to stay with them for 5 years after I finish. This means I'd have to work part-time and go to school. I'd not be able to do what I agreed to in the judgment we had because of this. That's why I said no at first. But now, I'm asking you to let me do this. I know I shouldn't even ask, I know I don't deserve it, but I'm asking you to let me have this chance. Lillian, can you check if the offer is real? Lillian didn't stand up when Alina and Abby came to sit with her. She was still mad at them, but she knew she had to meet them. She hid her real feelings, ready to talk. Thanks for coming to see me. I would have asked you sooner, but I needed this to be official, she said, handing Abby an envelope. What's this? Abby asked, worried about what was inside. The court said it's okay to forget your mistake. I couldn't ask the judge until today. She wasn't happy, but she said yes. So, can you take the job offer tomorrow? Abby's eyes grew big as she read the paper. She looked at Lillian and nodded. Yes. I was asked today, and I said I'd have an answer tomorrow morning. But why, Lillian? Why would you do this for me? Alina was just as shocked. Abby, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have helped. I'm still really mad. But it wasn't my choice, it was Mark's. He would have done this without thinking twice. So, you have what you need from him. Thank you, Lillian. Thank you. Does he know? Does Dad know you did this? No, he can't, right? He's not here. I don't know what they have him doing because he can't tell us. But it makes me worry. He's gone more than he's here. But I'm sure he'd agree with what I did for you. Abby gave her a thanks, then looked closely at the paper as a server came over. I could use a strong drink, maybe 2, Lillian said. She got a drink, and so did Alina, who asked for a big scotch and a wine. Lillian raised an eyebrow at Alina's pick. Really, Alina? I'm a lawyer. I work with the law, and you got wine for someone too young, right here. Alina grinned at Lillian. The wine's for me, Lillian, but a small cheer for Abby wouldn't hurt, right? Fine, just don't let her drink too much, Alina chuckled, and Abby looked up from the paper to smile at Lillian. When the drinks arrived, they ordered food. Heard anything about Mark, Lillian? Anything you can tell us? Alina asked. Lillian thought for a bit. He was told he had up to 14 months for the work. You knew that, right? I said he didn't think it could be done in that time. Yes, okay. So, about 10 weeks back, he thought they'd be done in about 9.5 months. He said he's got a great team. They hardly mess up, and when they do, they fix it quick. They're all working a lot, making big overtime, so he'll be back soon. Not sure, Lillian said. It's all rough guesses. I talked to him on Skype right before his last trip. Things are getting tough there, Lillian said. Mark said they're running into more trouble than before. But take this lightly, okay? Mark's really good at his job. He's got to deal with the tough folks there, likely pay them off. It could slow him down. This could push him way back, maybe even by 14 months. Why? What could make his work take so much longer? You know where he is. If there's a lot of shooting. Alina's hand flew to her mouth. Has he been shot at before? Did Mark get shot at? Alina asked, shocked. Yeah, a few times. Once in Iraq, twice in Afghanistan. But the captain of his security team is top-notch. She quickly dealt with those attacking him. She's super serious about keeping Mark safe and bringing him back home. The lady next to him during the meeting, that was her, Abby asked. That's her. Her name's Maggie Dumbarton. Alina and Abby shared a look, silent. Anyway, Mark might come back sooner or later than we thought. It's hard to say right now, Lillian said. Alina's heart beat fast. The thought of her husband, she couldn't think of him as her ex, being in danger, maybe even close with that captain as Abby suggested, was too much. But right now, all that mattered was his safety. She wanted him home safe, no matter what. Abby gently squeezed her mom's hand under the table. Lillian noticed but stayed quiet. Mark is doing what he loves. He told me he likes the freedom of working on this project his way. He gets along well with everyone there, military and civilians. They've become a close group. Being far away and facing danger together does that. I think he'll miss them when he's back. Mark isn't fighting, is he? I mean, the security team is keeping him safe, Alina asked. Lillian looked worried. Mostly yes, but he had to step in a couple of times. I'm not sure about the details. The Taliban were coming fast, breaking through the army's lines, heading right for the folks hiding out. Mark stepped up. He held them back just long enough for the soldiers to catch them. My God, he's not meant to be in the fight, Alina gasped, shocked. Lillian just shrugged. His folks, they had no guns, then they were his kin. Mark did all he could to keep them safe till Maggie and her team could step in. Dad tell you that? As asked. Lillian laughed a bit. No way, it was Maggie who told me. She felt bad she had to say it. Maggie, you two talk like friends? Alina questioned. Yeah, I do, spoke to her a whole bunch. Takes some time to get used to her, but I do like her. I trust her. When Mark can't, Maggie makes sure I know he's okay. She shared how Mark ended up in 2 shootouts, mad at herself. It went there twice, but she's made sure Mark's been learning with her crew, knows the ins and outs of small team moves. Mark's learning soldier stuff. Our Mark sure looks that way, he's not the same. You might not spot him if he was right by you. Got any new pictures of Dad? Abby wanted to know. Lillian paused a bit, then said, You sure you want to see, Abby? Really sure? Yes, please. Can I, and you, Alina? He's not your man now. I want to see too, please, Lillian. I know I might not have the right, but please. Lillian picked up her phone and sent a bunch of photos to Alina and Abby through a message. The first pic was of a big group, looked like the whole army team and the folks with no guns. Nearly 150 people stood there in the first photo. Mark was on his knees in the middle. To his left was a lady named Maggie Dumbarton, and next to her, a very big man, young too. To the right of Mark, also on their knees, were some regular folks. The next picture showed Mark sitting on the ground, legs crossed. He had something that looked like a map on his lap and a compass on top of the map. Snow was all around. Maggie Dumbarton was squatting right next to him, close. She was pointing at something on the map with one hand, and her other hand was on his back, not because she was going to fall. Alina turned pale at that photo but kept quiet. The last photo was Lillian's most liked. Mark was in the desert, no shirt showing his muscles, with a gun strapped around his chest. He wasn't trying to look cool for the camera, he just stood there looking far away. Both Alina and Abby's eyes popped at that picture. They both wondered what he was thinking right then. Cool, right? I sent that one to Mr. Avery. He turned it into a big picture and put it up in the office lobby. Now everyone who comes and sees it, they can't miss it, Lillian said. Dad looks so changed, Abby said quietly. He totally does. He's been working out with the army guys, tries to do it every day. He even runs 3 miles whenever he can, Lillian shared, full of pride. Alina looked at Lillian, a question in her eyes that she found hard to ask, but Lillian guessed it. Don't get your hopes up, Alina, Lillian said in a soft voice. He hasn't told me anything. But don't think he'll come back to you. I don't know what he's planning or thinking. Better not to expect much. Alina felt like she had been hit. This Maggie lady, I can't say, Alina. He hasn't talked about his personal stuff, only answered a joke I made when he first got there. I joked about him looking for a camel to love. He said he'd have no camels in his life. That could mean a lot, really. He's quiet, and so is Maggie. They're tight, that's clear. But that could be just because of all the stress they face every day. Don't think too much on it, Alina, and don't wait for something that might not happen when he's back. She seems mean, Abby added. Oh, her face, she calls that her I'm not happy face. Seems normal for her from what I know. She's really smart, works hard, and she can be funny when she feels like it. Has a kind of humor that's not loud but sharp. And yes, she can be real tough. When she has to be. She's pretty in an easy way, Alina noted. Maggie's in the army, she's not going to wear makeup to a fight, right? Guess not. Anyway, let's not guess about what might not be. Alina, Abby, I have to ask you something. Yes, why are you calling Mark Dad again? Abby's face went red, and her eyes got wet. Because he is. I can't change what I did. I can't. He'll always be my dad, even if he doesn't want to be. Do you remember what they said when you got the papers, the words he wanted you to hear? Yes, I do. Actions have consequences. I'll never forget that. Do you think it was too much at first? Yes, he took away everything I loved. Yes, he did, to you and your mom, just like what you and she did to him. You took everything he loved, everything precious, for no reason at all. So, do you get how he felt, how he suffered, how he feels even now? Abby nodded, yes. I get it. I feel so bad for what I did. It's more than just feeling sorry, Abby cried. Just say you've learned, Lillian spoke, her voice empty. I really have, Abby said. Alina watched, curious about where this was going, forgetting all about Maggie Dumbarton. So you want him to be your dad again? Lillian asked. Yes, in my heart he's still my dad, but I want him to see me as his daughter too. I want him to care again, but I don't know how to make that happen. Abby struggled through her tears. Here's the deal, Abby. He and I talked a lot about him disowning you. I tried to change his mind, but he was fixed. I never saw him so hurt and mad, yet he knew what he was doing. He wanted you to hurt, to feel the gap and pain he felt, and you did, right? Abby nodded. Yes, every single day since it happened. Do you want that to change? I don't get it. You can't take back what you did to him, right, Abby? Alina asked. No, I wish, but no, Abby replied. But he can take back what he did. Do you want that? Alina asked. What? Yes, but how would he even do it now? Alina got it. Lillian was still making Abby feel the burn, but there was hope at the end. He left a way out, a way to undo the disowning, but only if you ask. Me, you had to make me believe, really believe, that you wanted to be his daughter again. Even though he was mad and hurt, he still left the door open for you to come back. Do you want that? Alina asked. Yes, what do I need to do, Lillian? Please tell me. I'll do anything, Abby pleaded. Okay, it won't be quick, but you can show me you're serious. You've kept to your promise, even if you didn't want to at first. So, got any friends at work or home? Lillian asked. No, I haven't, Abby replied. Why? Because you need to make a friend, not just someone you know, but a real friend. Step out and find a life. Got it? Lillian said. Yes, but it's hard, Abby said. It's not that hard, Abby. You probably know someone, maybe from work. Make a friend, be a friend, live more than just at home. Stop feeling bad for yourself and start living. Should be easy, right? Lillian said. But how will you know I've made a friend? Abby asked. You'll tell me. I'll trust you. It'll take time, but you can do it. Make it happen with someone, okay? Lillian said. I will. What else? Abby asked. That's it for now. Keep me updated. Make sure it's real, Lillian said. Yes, okay, Abby said. There's someone at work, she's a bit older, but nice. Really nice. Her name's Linda. Good start. Make it happen and let your mom meet her. This is on you, Abby, but your mom can help, Alina added. Any worries? Lillian asked. No, Lillian, none. Thank you, Alina replied. Don't thank me. This was Mark's idea, his choice. Still, thank you. Both need to know about the will. You're not in it, the one he made before he left. You're not included. It stays that way until he's back to change it. Understand? Lillian explained. I never thought I'd be a part of it, Abby said. I said no, but it might touch Abby if they change the law back before he gets home. Abby being his kid again won't change his last wish. She won't get his stuff. That's okay, Lillian, Alina said. Abby jumped in. I don't need to be in his last wish, just let me be in his life again, okay? Let's start there, Abby said. All right then, and watch who you hang out with. No one who will drag you into bad stuff, no drugs, none of that. Be wise, Lillian warned. I will. Linda's kind. I'll chat with her tomorrow, okay? Maybe we can do something this weekend, Abby suggested. Lillian just gave a quick nod. I'm not here to tell you how to live, Abby. You figure it out, make it work, Lillian said. Abby's eyes sparkled with tears, but she was all smiles. Can I write to him, Lillian? Do you think he'd be okay with it? Abby wondered. I think that's fine, but remember, he's busy, replies might be slow. Yet it won't hurt. It's a way to connect, right? Might be good for you both. And me, Lillian said. Would he be okay with me writing too? Alina chimed in. I thought you were already doing that, Alina. He hasn't mentioned anything to me, but keep it easy. I'm not sure what you should say, but keep it easy, if that makes sense, Lillian replied. It does. Thanks, I'll think hard about it. I just need you to know, Alina said. I know, it's been a long day for me. I need to sleep. Thanks for dinner. I'll call you again. Good night, Lillian said, getting up and walking away without looking back. Abby went back to reading the paper that said she was no longer under judgment. Mom, is this for real, do you think? Is it actually true? Abby asked. Yes, dear, Alina responded softly. Lillian is still mad at us, but it's true. You've got to be sure this is what you want, Abby. If you don't go through with it, you won't get another shot, Mom warned. I know, Mom. I won't mess up. I miss Dad. I want to be his daughter again, Abby replied. I miss him too, but you have a chance to get him back, and that's what matters now. Let's head home. Tomorrow's a workday, Mom added as they got into the car. Abby asked, Mom, do you think Dad's gone for good because of that picture? Mom let out a heavy sigh. Yes, I believe so. You think that too? Abby inquired. I did, but now I'm not so sure. Maybe Dad's with that Maggie lady just because of where they are. It could end when he's back, right? Abby asked hopefully. Why would you think that? Mom asked. Maybe because Maggie's all about her military career, right? She'd have to leave that to be with Dad, Abby suggested. Maybe, I don't know, Mom said unsurely. But if Dad is with her, how does that make you feel? Abby asked. Oh, Abby, not good. I still love him. How could I like sharing him? Mom answered. But that's what you were doing before, right? I'm not blaming you. I pushed you all. I can't judge. It's the same, just now you're not married, Abby said. Maybe he'll come back, give us another chance. Who knows? Abby said hopefully. You're not seeing the big problem, Abby. I broke his trust badly. He'd never trust me again, Mom said. Is that so big? Abby asked. Mom laughed a little. Yes, I think it's even bigger than love. How come? Abby wondered. Well, some folks stay together with little or no love for a happy marriage. Two things are key, trust and balance. Trust is easy to get, with balance. Balance, you mix in a bit of give and take. Both must be happy with what they get. If you lose one, often the other goes too. Then it's over. Got it? Mom said. So you see, I messed up the balance with your dad. I cheated on him, and it was a dumb move. I should have talked to him about how I was feeling. I didn't give him a say, just went ahead and made things worse. Do you think he would have been okay with it? Alina asked. No way, Abby replied. That's why I did what I did, hoping it would give me time to change his mind. But I played it all wrong. I figured if I said I was drunk, he might overlook it a bit, maybe even like it in a weird way. But he knew better. He saw through my act and wanted answers. And the guy at the party, Lindstrom, I thought I wanted more from him, but really I didn't. I realized I didn't even like him that much. He was too full of himself, not my type at all. Yet I was mean to your dad for weeks after that. I honestly don't know why, because Lindstrom wasn't all that great. But that's what happened, Alina explained. Alina thought about the past, the risky choices. Losing her dad wasn't worth it. What if you had talked to him? Someone asked. I might have stopped my plans or asked for a divorce to chase my wants. That would have been fair, but I didn't do that, Alina said. Think about this, Mom. We saw Maggie with Dad twice. She was always the one touching him, not the other way around, Abby noted. Why does that matter? Alina wondered. It's only 2 times we saw, but if they are close, it looks like Maggie cares more than he does. Dad was always loving. You said he didn't show that same affection with her, at least not with touches, Abby said. I hope for Dad's sake he's happy with her wherever they are, Abby mused. Alina stayed silent. When they got home, both did the same thing without knowing. They printed a photo of Mark in the desert, framed it, and put it by their beds. Mark lay on his side, propped on his elbow, close to Maggie. She was on her back, his hand lightly touching her skin, damp with sweat, as he traced her stomach softly. They were both hot and sweaty from their long time together, ending with Maggie lying down and Mark on top, moving for what felt like forever. They both panted hard. Mark liked to see Maggie's body beneath him. He enjoyed making her muscles jump as he touched her lightly. Her chest, not big but firm, caught his eye. Her tips always stood out when they were close like this. Maggie had a grin on her face, her eyes shut. They had a big talk last night. No shocks for either of them in that chat. Mark's big job was done. Just one more day here and soon they'd part ways. Mark got close, Maggie said, but in the end, he didn't win her whole heart. She felt no man could, but he got near as much as she liked being with Mark, loving him too. It wasn't enough. At day's end, she couldn't leave her army life. The army was her world, her family. It was all she knew, all she wanted. Mark got it and respected her truth. Deep down, he also felt they weren't meant to last. He shared that living a calm life wasn't in her blood, just as following her wasn't his path. He had deep feelings for her, but not the love needed for a forever bond. After their chat, they were glad to be in agreement, yet they both wanted that holiday back home. No changing that plan. And they'd bring Mark along. No budging there. With her eyes still shut, Maggie smiled and said, "You talked in your sleep last night." That caught Mark off guard. "I did. Was I making any sense?" "I think so. You said Abby's name a lot. You didn't sound mad when you said her name. You talked about Lillian too, huh? I can't wait to see them both, but I'm a bit scared about Abby. I think she might still be mad at me." "Why?" "She's happy. She keeps telling you that. Why worry?" "I don't know, maybe she won't feel the same when we meet face to face." Maggie made a tisk sound. "You're making a big deal out of nothing, Mark. Was she mad when you video called her to say you were coming home?" "No, she didn't seem happy." "That's because she is. She even said hi to me and I wasn't close by. She asked me to join the call, didn't she? Thank me for looking after you. She sounded really nice to me." "She'll be okay, Mark. Just be happy you get to see your daughter again." "Yeah, maybe I'm just worried for no reason." "Thanks. It's too bad you won't meet her, though." "Why?" "I don't think she's keen on meeting her dad's girlfriend. No kid wants that. It'd be weird for me too. I'm excited to meet Lillian though. Would you mind if I brought Lillian into bed with us?" she asked with a bigger grin. Mark laughed. "Go for it. I think she's curious about you. I've never heard her talk about liking a woman, but hey, whatever you two like, I'm okay with it." Maggie laughed too. "It might just be joking, Mark. I have to be careful, you know. The army doesn't like this stuff much. But whatever works for me." "Did I say anything else in my sleep? Anything hot?" "No, you said Alina's name a few times." "I did? Sounded like it to me. So, I was having a bad dream." Maggie laughed again. "Didn't seem like it to me." "Ah, well, you should talk to her, Mark. You don't need to say sorry, but maybe say you forgive her. What harm? Her short emails to you look like she wants to say sorry face to face." "A letter might do you both some good," said Maggie. "Maggie, I'm not saying see her now. In fact, I say wait till after our beach trip. I don't want you thinking of her. When we should be having fun," she added. Mark laughed. "Okay, after the trip, maybe. I'll be swamped at work when I get back and I need to find a place to crash. You can stay at Lillian's as long as you need. You know that." "Yeah, but I can't just live there for free." "Stop, Mark. You're making problems where there are none. You and Lillian might end up together after the trip. It could happen. Just relax and see what happens," Maggie said. Mark shrugged. "No point in fighting it then. Maybe Lillian is just joking, but I think she's into you. I'll just see how things go." Maggie woke up and turned to face him. She took his hand. "She's into you, Mark. Trust me." "I already told her we're not staying together," she whispered. "You did when?" "Last week. I was sure last week and I thought she should know. I told her not to say anything till we talked. I also said if she wants to be with you, she should make it clear on our trip." "Really? What did she say?" Maggie laughed. "You'll find out. She plans to be close, Mark. She said there are 20 years to catch up on." "Happy now?" "Wow, yes, wow. I think you should have been with her 20 years ago. Maybe think about that on our trip." Mark laughed. "So you're playing matchmaker now, Maggie?" Maggie just shrugged. "I think you're better with someone around." Lillian felt a mix of nerves as her plane slid to a stop. Mark and Maggie had flown back to Georgia 5 days before to talk about their trip and had made it to Bermuda just last night. Lillian had caught an early flight that morning, sitting in the posh seats, but even with the fancy ride, she couldn't ease her jittery feelings. Even though she knew they were both eager to see her, could things go as she dreamed, or would it just turn out too strange? She wasn't sure, but she was about to find out real soon. Lillian was among the first to step off the plane, walking into the hall from customs. She first found it hard to spot them, and when she did, her heart almost missed a beat. There they were, coming right towards her. Mark looked like a dream. His skin had caught the sun, and he looked strong, chilled out, and oh so good-looking. His grin was huge. Maggie, Lillian hardly knew Maggie for the change in her. Maggie's hair fell loose, fuller than Lillian thought possible. She wore a simple summer outfit, flip-flops, and her face was all smiles, no signs of her usual grumpy look. Maggie's grin matched Mark's. Lillian froze, mouth open, until Mark wrapped her up in a big hug, and then he kissed her. It wasn't just a simple hello kiss either. Lillian wrapped her arms around him and kissed back with all she had. Before she knew it, they broke apart. She already missed being in Mark's hug when Maggie moved in, hugged her, and kissed her too. "Wow, that kiss was hot," Lillian said. She kissed Maggie back just as hard. Too soon it ended. Mark and Maggie each took one of Lillian's arms and led her to get their bags. Lillian's head was all over the place as she walked with them. Getting their bags was quick. Lillian had just one big bag and a smaller one. "See, Mark? Lillian knows how to pack. You should have let her pack for you last year." "Hey, no gripes, woman. I packed for a long, long time, and you left most of what you took. Next time, ask Lillian to help." "Maybe I will. Then you can't moan about it for a year." "How's that?" Maggie laughed. "Ask me to pack, and you'll have nothing to wear. I'd keep you with no clothes." Mark and Lillian laughed too. "I'd do the same, Mark, though I've not seen you with no clothes on yet." "Wow, you two are teaming up on me," Mark said. "Yes," both women said together. Mark had got a car, and they chatted easily on the way to their hotel. Their little house by the sea was amazing. It was on its own by the beach, so they could be without clothes all they liked. It even had a hot tub hidden away. When they got in, Mark hung back while Maggie took Lillian's big bag to the bedroom. Lillian stopped at the door and looked back at Mark. He went red. "We thought this is what you'd want, but if not, it's okay. I can sleep on the sofa bed." "It's better than what I've had this last year," Lillian said, giving a small smile. She went back to him, took his hand, and led him to the foot of the bed. "Maggie, yes," Lillian said with a smile. "Can you help him out of his clothes for me? I've been waiting a year to see him with no clothes. Can you show me how he likes it?" Maggie giggled at Mark's face as she slowly took off his clothes, touching him gently and telling Lillian what he enjoyed as she did. Lillian watched with a big happy grin, loving every bit of the show Maggie put on. Lillian gasped when Maggie revealed Mark's hard-on, reaching from behind to softly touch his balls. "He likes it when you suck these, Lillian, and try putting a finger in his backside. It drives him wild," Maggie advised. Lillian was shocked. "You've done that before?" she asked. "Many times. He's very sensitive there," Maggie explained, letting go of his balls and holding his hard member. Lillian's eyes grew wide as she looked at Mark naked and ready in front of her. However, she still had her wits about her. "Mark, your turn. Undress Maggie." "Follow the same steps," she said with a grin. Mark smiled back. Being with two women at once was new for Mark. He dreamed about it but felt a bit shy at first. The women quickly made him comfortable. Both wanted his full attention, and he gave as much as he could. It was overwhelming yet an incredible time, a memory he'd always cherish. After hours, Maggie left Mark and Lillian alone in the hot tub, saying she had to do some things. Both knew Maggie was giving them private time, which they liked. Lillian let out a happy sigh. Was it everything you hoped for, Lillian? Mark asked with a smile. Absolutely yes. I'm beyond happy, more than I hoped. This is a great start to a holiday. It's awesome to be here with you both. And us, are we okay? Yes, Mark. I've wanted this for so long. Now that it's happening, all I can say is thanks, Lillian laughed. Does that clear things up? It does, he said, smiling. I was worried. After all these years, I thought it might mess things up. No way, forget that thought. I'll take whatever you give me. Here only, Lillian looked at Mark and smiled. Yes, Mark, just here. I do love you, always have, but it's not the marrying type of love. I've thought a lot about it. When I saw you at the airport, I knew you'll always be in my life, but I can't be the woman you need. As much as I love you, we get along, I can't give you the full love you deserve. Get it? I think so. I feel similar. I'm still not over Alina, to be honest, Mark admitted. Yeah, you're not, and maybe you never will. That's just how it is. Alina was everything for you until she messed up big time, Lillian said, her mood darkening. Mark sighed. You're mad, and you have a right to be. What you did shook them up big time. It was tough on Alina and Abby. I'm still mad at them too, but you need to talk to both of them. Mark scowled. Abby, yes, but why Alina? You need to hear her out. She has things to say to you face to face. She needs to talk, you need to listen. You're on Alina's side? No way. I'm with you. That's why you should hear her out. She messed up big time. She knows it, and man, she's been bugging me a lot since you left. Maybe that's too much, but I saw her more this last year than the last 19. She even joined my gym to catch your eye when you got back. Didn't want to look bad, really. Why? Lillian laughed happily. She wanted to look good for you. You'll be shocked, Mark. She worked super hard. I wanted to drop some weight, but Alina, she went all in. She's as fit as Maggie now. That's hard to believe, Lillian smiled, not really. She knew about you and Maggie, saw her as competition, I guess. I kept quiet, but she figured you two were a thing. Never whined about it, but got ready to match Maggie physically, especially after I showed her your tough guy desert photo. Still gives me chills, Mark chuckled, didn't know about that photo till later. Yeah, what were you thinking when it was taken? Mark laughed. Truth? I was looking for a place to pee, Lillian cracked up. No way. You just killed my dreamy view of you, Mark. True story, Mark admitted, keep that to yourself. The boss blew it up big and hung it in the lobby. It looks even more amazing than my picture. I bet a lot of girls dreamed about you this year because of that big painting. Oh man, so about Alina, let her say sorry. At least you don't have to take her back, Mark, Lillian urged, but she's going to wow you when you see her. Let her speak, okay? Do it for me if nothing else. Mark thought it over, then nodded. I'll see her, Lillian, only because you asked. I doubt I could say no to you, really, Lillian giggled, then we might chat about you having a baby with me. What, for real? Mark was surprised. Lillian just shrugged. I've thought about it a lot, Mark. I likely won't marry anyone, I don't want that. But a kid or two? Yeah, I've thought about it, and you always come up as the dad. I'm still just young enough for kids. I'm not really asking, but do you think you'd like it? Mark was shocked, but thought it over. Before he could reply, Lillian added, I don't want money for the kid, Mark, but I'd like them to have your last name. I want them to know you're their dad and for you to be in their lives. Mark smiled. Wow, Lillian, yes, I'll do that for you. Of course, I will. Lillian's smile was huge. Great. I'm not stopping babies right now. I have some next day pills, but if you agree, I won't use them, right? You think it'll happen this week? That's what I hope. Mark and Alina will just have to deal with it. Alina? What's she got to do with it? Mark asked. Come on, Mark. Alina messed up big time, but be real with me. You still love her, don't you? You can't tell me you didn't think of her while away, Lillian probed. Mark frowned. Does it matter after what she did, Lillian? It sure does, Mark. She made a big mistake and had to face the music for it. Now it's time to let it go and give her a shot to make things right. She'll do it, Mark. You guys could be together for ages, and she won't let you down again. Trust me, I'm good at reading folks, and everything she's done since you left was to make you forgive her and take her back. She really wants you to, and you should. I know I'm right, so don't fight this, Lillian urged. I'm not sure, Lillian. Things have changed, she's changed too, Mark countered. I wouldn't tell you to go for it if I thought it wouldn't work. You can make her prove she's changed, though. Don't let it be easy, Lillian advised. I'm not making any promises about Alina. I'll meet her, that's all I'm saying, Mark concluded. That's a start, Mark. It opens the door. But before you go back to her, you're going to have a kid with me. I'm not about breaking homes, you know, Lillian said. Mark chuckled. All right, Lillian. As he stopped at the door, he wanted to do this, he needed to. Yet, he also wanted to turn back. He couldn't see this meeting as anything but painful. Seeing Alina again, could he manage it? He knocked before he could doubt further. He almost jumped when the door swung open. Dad! Abby yelled as she jumped into his arms. Mark was stunned by his daughter's hug. She held him tight, crying into his chest. Hey, he said, holding Abby, I didn't expect you, honey. Why the tears? Please stop. Abby held him tighter. Hey, Abby, it's okay. Everything is okay. Easy, Abby, you're squeezing me too tight, sweetie. Abby let go of a big cry, then stepped back to look in his eyes. You're here to stay? You're not leaving again? Abby asked. Yes, I'm here to stay. I'm done with going places, so yes, I'm home for good. Abby hugged him once more and then pulled him into the condo. Stopping in front of a young lady, Dad, this is my buddy Linda. Linda gave Mark a warm smile as Abby looked back at him. I told her everything, every bit. I've got a friend, Dad. That's great, Abby. Linda, happy to meet you. Linda chuckled and hugged Mark. Nice to meet you too, Mr. Robertson. At last, welcome back. I bet we'll hang out a lot. Abby and I got to go, but we wanted to see you first. Would you like to come to dinner with us tonight, just us four? Mark raised an eyebrow. 4 of us? Oh, my bad, Dad. Mom, Linda, me, and you. Will you come, please? Abby laughed. No way. Abby said, Linda and I will be back by 6. Abby hugged her dad tight again, whispering, Please, Dad, stay, talk to Mom, and be here when we're back, please. Mark held Abby close. I'll be here, love. I promise. Abby let go with a mix of a sob and a hiccup, then hugged Mark again, only letting go when Linda tugged at her arm. Abby let Linda lead her out, eyes still on her dad. Linda was the one to shut the door, smiling at Mark as she did. Mark could only smile back, filled with joy at his daughter's joy to see him again. Turning around, he saw Alina a few steps away, and he caught his breath. Alina was always pretty, but now she was stunning. Lillian wasn't lying when she said Alina was all in on getting fit. Hi Mark, welcome back home, thanks for coming, she said. In no time, Mark had his arms around her, pulling her in for a kiss, a deep, warm kiss. Alina let go in his hold, making happy sounds of surprise and joy. You fool, he whispered, breaking the kiss for just a moment. You silly fool. Yes, yes, she said between kisses. Sorry, so sorry. Mark let go of all his anger, the hurt, the feeling of loss. It turned into a wild need to take back what was his and his alone. Their clothes were off in a blink, no thought for anyone coming back, no thought at all as Mark picked Alina up, spinning her around into the dining room. He pushed her between two chairs, sending them flying, then he bent her over. Alina was strong now, but it didn't matter to Mark. He folded her over the table, using his left hand to press her down. She pushed back into him, making noise as Mark joined with her. He didn't care, his left hand on her back, right on her hip, he moved with force. Alina could only make sounds with the hard rhythm. "You are mine," he said, amazed at her strong form. "Yes, yes, all yours," Alina said with Mark's claim on her. Mark had never been this tough with her, so rough, and Alina loved it. Her nails dug into the table, and she loved it. "Yours, all yours." Suddenly, Alina felt something big Mark felt and went harder. The first rush was soon followed by another, then one more. Alina was lost in joy, not sure what was going on with her body and not minding it. Her man was claiming her again, that's all she cared for. Mark finished with a loud sound, releasing into her many times while Alina let out sounds of joy. He wasn't done yet, though. He pulled out and quickly made Alina face him. He lifted her, placing her down on the table, her legs over his shoulders. He pulled her close, bending her deeply. Mark, still ready for more, entered her again, making Alina scream out. Her legs shook without stop, her face was close to his, her eyes wide and blinking fast, his eyes wild and still. "Look at me, Alina," he said roughly. "You are mine, every bit of you is mine." Alina could only nod, her throat was dry, she wanted to yell out her yes, but all she could do was shake as another wave hit her. Mark moved with her through it, then stopped when she was done. She was almost out from their intense moments. He pulled out, moved her off the table, and then laid her face down on it. This time he went for a different spot. Alina wanted to cry out, to ask him to stop, but she didn't. She wanted to give Mark whatever he wished. She bit down, her hands hitting the table weakly as he went in. It hurt a lot. He was softer now, though. Yes, he went in without any prep, but he moved slow, his hands sliding over her back. Both were sweating a lot, the air filled with the smell of them together. He went slow with care, moving in and out. He took her again, and Alina felt whole. Soon, pain gave way to joy. More, Mark, harder, she breathed. He did, losing track of time. Mark grunted, matching Alina's long moans. Her hands reached for him but fell short. Their bodies made loud sounds, leading them both to climax together. Out of breath and sweaty, Mark leaned on her, pinning her to the table. She gasped for air, spots dancing in her vision, but she didn't want it to end. When he pulled away, Alina stayed put, catching her breath. Turning, she saw Mark, all sweaty and strong. He came back, lifting her up, his hands grabbed her tightly. "You fool," he whispered. Alina cried, agreeing. "I know. I'm sorry," she sobbed. "We need to talk now," she asked as he touched her. "Shower first, then again in your bed," he said. Alina smiled through tears. "Come," she said. They left their clothes behind in Alina's room. Mark noticed the new stuff. She saw his look and said, "I sold our old stuff, Mark. It all had to go. No one else had been in this room but me and Abby. No one but me had slept in this bed." Mark nodded, glad she told him. He wouldn't have been okay coming in if the old stuff was still there. He just nodded at Alina, then went to the big bathroom with her. They took a long, kind shower together. He washed her all over, even her hair. After, she did the same for him. Back in bed, Mark was gentle but sure. She felt a bit sore when they were close, but she didn't mind. Alina had her man with her again, and that's what she wanted. They were slow, and it felt right to both. "We should get our clothes," said Mark, touching her gently. Alina laughed, jumped up, and got them. "I'll get them." "You stay," she said. She put them on a chair, then got back into bed with Mark. "I really like how you look now," Mark said, pulling her close. "Thanks." I really tried to look good for you, Lillian said. You did this to win over Maggie? Alina's face went red, and she nodded. I didn't want to seem old and not nice next to her when you got back. You didn't have to do this, Alina. You and her were never in a race. I thought I'd lose you for sure if I didn't. No way. There was no race. Maggie didn't like you at first, true, but in the last 3 months, she kept saying I should be with you. Not in those words, but that's what she meant. Alina took a while to take in what he said. What's next for us, Mark? That's up to you, Alina. I have 2 big things to tell you. You decide after me. Yes? Then Mark told her about the year he was with Maggie and how it all started. Alina laughed when she heard how Maggie's head hit the inside of the Hummer. That must have hurt, Mark, she said, still giggling. Oh, she had a big headache after that. But those helmets are tough, he replied. Alina felt a bit sad and even a bit jealous as he talked, but she knew that Mark was over Maggie and felt thankful for that. I'm glad you had her with you, Mark. It's hard, sure, but I'm thankful she was there and got you back safely. I'd like to say thanks to her one day. Is that okay? Mark shrugged. Sure, if it happens. It's up to you. It might happen one day. Thanks. What's the next thing? She asked. Mark took a deep breath. This might be hard, but I made a promise. I'm going to keep it, even if it might be a deal breaker. Lillian wants me to have kids with her. She doesn't want to marry you or take me from you, but she wants my kids. 2 of them. Kids? You mean like making babies with her? Yes, having sex with Lillian to give her 2 kids. Wow, Mark, he quickly said. It's not to hurt you or her or me. Lillian even wants us to get back together, but it's strange and maybe too much for you. It's your call. Wow. I didn't see that coming. I need time to think, Mark kissed her. Take all the time you need. I'm staying at Lillian's place for now, but not as her love. Well, maybe part-time. We don't share a bed. I'll be leaving, and once she gets a baby, we'll stop with the sex until she wants another child. But I really think Lillian and Maggie will end up together, if they aren't already. What? Lillian likes girls? No, she likes both. Same as Maggie. They just get each other in ways they couldn't with me. It's something to watch, really. You were with them both? Alina flipped Mark onto his back, leaning close so they were eye to eye. Yes, in Bermuda, just before I came back. We were all there for 2 weeks. You had both of them for 2 weeks? Yes, but by the 2nd week, I felt left out, Mark said, laughing. Lillian's going to stay in touch with Maggie, and we'll wait for her to finish her career in 7 years. Maggie wants to be a high-ranking officer before she retires. Maggie's fine with me having kids with Lillian. It seems like their idea. Okay, but they won't take you from me, right? No, Alina. Maggie and I were done. Bermuda was it, really? Lillian wants me back with you. She's sure about it. And except for having kids with her, that's it for us. You're different, Mark. In some ways, yes. Not in all. I know it sounds wrong, but I can't share you, Alina. If we get back, it's just us. I can't have it any other way. I say yes. I'm okay with you having kids with Lillian. I am, Mark. I'll take it just because of how she stood up for you. I mean, wow, she was amazing, Mark, so strong. If anyone in the world should have your kids, it's Lillian. Make it a dozen. I won't fuss. I won't stray again, man. It still amazes me that I did that to you and us. I apologize profusely, Alina. Give up, the task is completed. All right, let's put it back there. Weeping, she buried her head in his chest. Mark, I'm still yours, she declared. You're not joking? With I'm not, Mark stood up. As he reached for his clothes and took something out of his jacket pocket, Alina observed him. Mark crouched down by the bed next to Alina when he returned. Alina stared at him, perplexed by my remarks regarding Lillian. Mark said to Alina, "I want you back," but as my wife, holding up a small box. When he opened it, a brilliant ring covered in diamonds was visible. "Alina, will you marry me again, please?" he asked, startled, her hands covering her mouth. She was speechless and simply gazed. At last, she found her voice and exclaimed, "Alina, yes. Yes, oh God, yes, Mark." Alina's hand trembled as Mark placed the ring on it. She sat there, staring at the ring without being able to take her eyes off it. "Alina, you know that Lillian and Maggie chose that ring. They both desire our reunion," he remarked. Mark returned to the bed and embraced Alina. "Mrs. Robertson will be back so soon. Tell me about Linda, Abby's friend," he commanded. Alina chuckled. "Comrade? Mark, they're no longer even friends. They make a good duo, and I'm delighted for them. Are you serious? Are you okay with Abby being?" "Oh my God, no. Why would I find it bothersome? I'm glad she's found a committed partner. Who it is doesn't matter. They genuinely care about one another. They are, Mark, indeed. They share this home with me. They may even discuss getting married soon, in my opinion. You're cool with that? Amazingly, but this isn't Abby's first big love? Might they be hurrying it up?" Alina merely gave a headshake. "I don't believe so. Abby has transformed so much, and now that you're back, she's ecstatic and won't stop smiling. Abby even started dancing so she could partner with Linda. More than I could have asked for is that. And Linda is so open, honest, vibrant, goal-oriented, and sharp. She makes a special effort to brighten Abby's day. She'll appeal to you. Linda and you are very similar. There is no one Abby could have chosen better. It's fantastic. So, how is Abby faring academically?" "It's Abby, I see. She's killing it, slaying every task at hand. I sometimes think that she has it too easy, but Linda keeps her focused. As I mentioned, Abby has never been more content." After talking more about Abby and Linda, Alina inquired, "How is work going? Are they really going to send you far away again?" "Alina, no. Mr. Avery, Henry, gave me a promotion and a big job managing the deals from here. It implies that I will travel, but only domestically. If you'd like, you could come with me. He has other people to handle the long trips and my former job. All we need to do is get settled in and get going. Would you consider relocating here right away, or? I haven't had a chance to look around your place, but it seems like we could use a little more space, something substantial enough for occasional parties. Can we find another location, or are we obligated to stay here? I'm not certain. It takes me a little while to adjust to things again. You know, I don't want to just walk in and take over," Mark remarked. "You have my entire life, Mark. I owe this place nothing at all. I'd adore working with you to find a new residence. What say you about this? I believe Linda and Abby will get married. I have no doubt about it. What if you pay off my debt right now and we both give them this location for their wedding? For them, it would be an ideal first home. You'd be okay with that?" "I would, indeed. I purchased this condo because I could pay for it quickly and I wanted to be prepared for anything that might arise after you returned. At first, Abby wasn't comfortable here, but now she feels at ease. She even knows the people who live next door," Alina laughed. Mark had felt really at home that night. Alina was very affectionate and touched him whenever she could. This was fresh. Although Mark had always been the cuddly one, she found herself drawn to him now. Mark returned all of the warmth. The news that he and Alina were reconciling delighted the girls. Abby was obsessed with the idea of her family being complete once more. During dinner, Linda had to comfort her a few times. Mark was always grinning as he watched them together. Mark stayed put in Alina's condominium. Before all else, he wanted them to have their own place. Alina concurred, and on the third day of their search, they discovered the ideal home. Mark made a cash offer, and it was accepted. Closing would take place in a month. They spent weekends visiting small inns and spent nights at Alina's and Lillian's. A couple of weeks following Mark's return to Alina's life, she enjoyed a lovely lunch with Lillian. Lillian was uneasy, but Alina gave her a sense of security. "So, got any news, Alina?" Lillian inquired. Alina: "No, not yet. It seems a little too soon." "Are you truly comfortable with Mark being my children's father?" Alina laughed heartily. "I want kids, but I don't want to ruin your chance of getting back with him." "Remain calm, Lillian. You are not obstructing our path." With me, Mark was frank and straightforward. He gave me the freedom to say yes, and I did. What I ought to have done for him, he did for me. It's selfless of him to help you, it's not about him. It's okay with me if you have his children." Alina grinned and said, "I'm actually quite excited." "Really, Alina?" "Yes, if I could have more kids." Kindly refer to the updated text below. Mark and I would both ask, but you're unique. I'm glad he's taking care of you. Being Aunt Alina, I'll lavish them with attention. Alina: "I'm in shock. Although Mark said you were fine, I wasn't sure." Lillian: "I promise you that I'm perfectly okay with him being the father. I even considered asking if I could be there for you too during your infertility journey. But I didn't ask him." "Would you really want that?" "Yes, sort of to be a part of it, not to join. In my own unique way, I wish to share it with you." Lillian could not speak. Alina: "You've changed. You've changed greatly from the previous year. I understand, correct? I was so consumed with myself. My one and only love was lost as a result. I have a lot of time on my hands. Although I'm not perfect yet, I'm improving. I consider what you and Mark are doing to be a gift. It's not like he's being unfaithful, he isn't. Not at all. Mark desires to give his longtime, true friend something that she truly needs and desires. Something she ought to have, in my opinion. Sincerely, Lillian, I wouldn't object if Mark continued to date you as his other woman. Now that he's back, I could share him with you even though I intended to keep him. Only you. You won't get that, Alina. A man is not what I want in my life. Not part-time, not full-time. Not even Mark. Maggie." Lillian's expression reddened. "Maggie?" "Indeed, Maggie. Strange, eh? It will take some time, though. She'd like to get her army work done first. Thus, it's okay with me if Mark gives you kids. I'm hoping it works out for you. And you wish to witness it firsthand? Would you not want to participate more, say, beyond that?" Alina grinned once more. "Lillian, I'm not positive. I might not refuse to be there if you both wanted me to. Not that it matters if it doesn't. It would be okay to just observe. I'm not envious either. Let Mark assist you in becoming a parent. Do I now sound crazy?" Lillian gave a small laugh. "But perhaps not any more than me. I never gave being with a woman much thought before meeting Maggie. Never. I kind of like it now. Mark is the only man I still like. You know how you've always scared me? For as long as I've known you, you've represented all that is lovely, fashionable, and alluring. However, I never thought I would date you. Right now, I'm unsure. Mark has to say yes, but maybe I wouldn't mind having you with us. And you're coming along? That is something I also wouldn't refuse. Once more, it is up to Mark. Do we need to ask him? Would you really be okay with me watching him? To be honest, I wouldn't. I find the idea exciting. It chills me to the bone. Never will I desire another man." Lillian laughed again. "She's all for it, no problem. She's even mentioned it previously. See, she believes that's the best course of action for us. Maggie wants to be near you and Mark. We're her only family because she's never had many. She's happy that you and Mark are back together. Just make sure she receives an invitation to your wedding, please. She hopes you'll ask her, because she really wants to be there. Will you carry that out? Sure, text her address to me. I will quickly send the invitation. Lillian, I want to meet her. I'm curious to learn more about her. I owe her a great deal. After some convincing, Mark finally agreed. But only at Lillian's house. Saw a man repeatedly make Lillian come, she was really turned on and just watched. The first time she refrained from jumping on Lillian's bed, but not the second. When Alina made a second move toward Mark, he had no chance. As Alina and Mark had a wild time on Lillian's bed, Lillian laughed. He was unconscious by then, but Alina persisted until he managed to escape her. She felt horrible after that and apologized to Lillian for intervening. Lillian dismissed it with a smile. It was fantastic. She laughed and said, "Poor Mark, he's going to have trouble walking straight for days." "Did he make you come, Alina?" "No, but I can wait." Lillian had Alina pinned to the bed in the blink of an eye. "Let me show you what I've picked up, Alina." She kept losing her mind over and over as Lillian dove into Alina. Lillian wanted to keep all of Mark's sperm inside, but Alina was unable to give back even though she desired to. When all three of them woke up the following morning and Lillian returned from the restroom, she had some news. Saying, "Mark, you did it," Lillian showed Mark and Alina the results of the home exam. "I'm going to have a baby." They all expressed how happy they were. That day, Mark took care of Lillian as well as Alina. They were all in love. Mark then acted on his word and distanced himself from Lillian. He wanted to focus on Alina alone right now, even though Alina advised him to remain near Lillian. His work was finished. Maggie attended the wedding, yes. She was taken aback when Abby rushed to greet her at the airport, gave her a bear hug, and expressed her gratitude for getting her dad back safely. Alina gave her a hug as well before she could even think. Maggie wasn't sure at first, but eventually she felt all right. "Alina, please treat him well," she said. "You must give it your all for him." Alina concurred. It was Mark's turn next. He gave Maggie a tight hug. She'd missed him terribly. It was more than just an embrace when Lillian first met her. "Mark, get a room," Linda joked, appearing friendly but composed. Maggie was overjoyed. There was a judge at the small wedding. As Mark's best man, Abby supported Alina, and Lillian was her maid of honor. After a short celebration, Mark and Alina left for Bermuda for their honeymoon, staying mostly indoors at a comfortable retreat. Abby and Linda got married a year later. Mark and Alina, who had given the newlyweds a generous gift of their condo, also paid for their honeymoon in Tahiti. 11 months later, Abby reached a major turning point in her financial education, and Linda also learned more about money management. Soon after, Linda excitedly announced that she was expecting twins, which had been made possible by medical intervention. Mark gave his approval for Lillian to choose the names for their two daughters, Alina and Abby, while Lillian was pregnant. Alina actively participated in their lives, creating a happy environment and even sharing private moments with Mark so they could conceive their second child in their room. Alina made sure everyone had a fun time together when Maggie came to visit. Like Abby, Mark loved being with Alina, even though there were moments when he couldn't keep up. He considered her to be his greatest joy. Alina was aware of the value of reciprocity in interpersonal interactions. Please remember to subscribe and enable notifications for more content if you like this story. I appreciate you viewing.